Loading, strike with the lyrics like I'm bowling. Keep pushing on, keep rolling. And then when I listen, but I told him one more time. Your favorite MCs, bronze or silver. These raps here are golden. Cards on the table, there's no folders. Spit bars at the club, zoning. TikTok comes along, I get ripped off. Man get pissed off when I start lift off. Sweet like flavors, cookie and biscuit. Fronty, yeah, the bars I get ripped off. Picked up myself, yo, every time I tripped up. Little petty kid in the big pop. Me and my G's do everything mix up. Full circle, that everybody linked up. That's irrelevant, maybe like an elephant. Keep it hard, but you know that it's elegant. Get mad, but always benevolent. Always moving up, just leveling. Constantly telling and rhyming, bridging. Cycle through these streets, I'm pedaling. Hibernating and boom, she's back again. Oh, cause a little fire on the track again. Turn the music up, vibe like an icon. Yeah, if you want buff, you can go psycho. Head to head, bar to bar, turn a mic on. Turn the music up, vibe like an icon. Yeah, I don't mind, I'll do it for the hell of it, yeah. Elevate bars, I regulate, yeah. UK, wheel up the tune, just meditate. If it didn't get it by 9, then they kinda late. Man thinks he's a bad man, but he's kinda bait. Live every day like it's my last, celebrate. Mind on the task, we calibrate. Loading, strike with the lyrics like I'm bowling. Keep pushing on, keep rolling. Didn't wanna listen, but I told him. One more time, your favorite MCs, bronze or silver. Too bad, these vibes here are golden. Cards on the table, there's no folders. Spit bars that I can't zoning. That's irrelevant, maybe like an elephant. Keep it hard, but you know that it's elegant. Get mad, but always benevolent. Always moving up, just leveling. Constantly telling them rhyming, breathing. Cycle through these streets, I'm pedaling. Hibernating them boom, she's back again. Oh, cause a little fire on the track again. Turn the music on, vibe like an icon.
Yes, guys, I'm Cy. Welcome to Ace Podcast Nation. This is the Cardiff City fan show, live from the Rummer Tavern. I am here joined by lots of Cardiff.
Sorry, Cy, it's my phone.
Turn your phone off, mate.
Should I answer it?
Go on.
Hello.
Here he is.
How are you doing?
Hello, Mr. Michael Chopra joins us live from Amsterdam. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. And yourself?
Very, very good. So, some people will know, some people not. A few people have guessed because people have been texting me the last few days going, is it Michael Chopra? Is it Michael Chopra? And I was like, oh, it might be. And I just kind of leaned into it a little bit on Instagram and that. I was playing that song in the background and stuff, just hinting in it. But for anyone who doesn't realise, on the 15th of December, our final City Legends event of the year from the Rummer Tavern will be with none other than former Cardiff City striker, the legendary Mr. Michael Chopra. And it's delighted, mate, to have you be our final one of the year. Nice to go out with a bang, and I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I'm really looking forward to it. I always have special memories of Cardiff. Always follow the team. Obviously, a disappointing result last night, but look, I'm going to be here in Cardiff on the 15th, and I'm really looking forward to it. There's lots of stories. Obviously, a lot of people will probably want to touch on the gambling and stuff like that, which I'm open to talk about. I've got nothing to hide. People will want to ask questions about the Bristol City change room with Craig Bellamy and the mobile phone, and lots of other stories. Terry Phillips when he was in Portugal, Sam Haman, Peter Ridsdale, Roger Johnson. There's loads of them. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be really looking forward to it.
Terry Phillips might be there, mate. He follows the podcast, and he comes. I think he's coming on Friday to the Darren Purse one. But you never know; you might be able to get reacquainted with him. There you go.
Yeah, I'll keep everything quiet for now and keep everything. But look, Terry will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure, mate. No, look, it's going to be a great night, and it's a great experience for Cardiff City fans as well. You know, to have bit of time with you, ask questions and stuff like that, have photos, you know, all this sort of stuff. It's to me, that's when I look at it as purely from a fan point of view, not as like the host.
Yeah,
it's just a special evening, getting to chat to and ask questions of players who you've kind of idolized and grown up or, you know, watched on the terraces. It's always special, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, when you're a player, you can't really say too much. Do you know what I mean? But once you've retired and you've hung the boots up, then all the stories can come out. You're open to saying what you want. So look, like you've said before, it's on the 15th of December. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being back in Cardiff and meeting some great people. Because I've always said Cardiff fans are like the Geordies. We wear our heart on our sleeve, and we support the team, and we're fully behind it. And I think that's probably why I've done so well playing for the city.
Yeah, and like the fans, when when players like yourself become cult heroes, the fans love them forever, and they never have to buy a drink and stuff like that. Interesting, you said about the stories, mind, because when I used to do the podcast with Super Kev, I remember the first episode we did, and he just told the story about Tom Heaton and a fire extinguisher, and I think everybody was really shocked that he sort of told that story 10 minutes into the first show. But it was like, it's like you say, when players retire, they're able to relax a little bit and reminisce, tell some stories of pre-season and things like this.
Yeah, it's great. You know what I mean? When you're with the lads, you have a laugh. It's a bit of team bonding. Do you know what I mean? Some people outside the football world think it's too extreme, but when you're together as a group of lads, 25 years on a pre-season tour, anything can happen. Do you know what I mean? But that's what got us close together. Even when we were in Cardiff as a group of players, there was probably 8 or 9 of us. We'd all jump on the PlayStation and play Call of Duty together. It was just the bond we had, and you could see what we were doing off the pitch. We were bringing it on the pitch, and I think, and look, don't get me wrong, people will probably agree with me, people probably don't, but I think when I was there and Dave Jones was manager, that's probably the best football that Cardiff City's ever seen. The attack and play, what we had was phenomenal. And look, I was watching it was only a couple of days ago, I had Sky Sports on, and the playoff final was on the TV. It was replayed, and then I watched the full game, and I still can't believe we didn't win that game and get promoted.
You watch it? I've never been able to watch it back. That or the FA Cup final, I've never been able to watch them back. I can't imagine how much more painful it is as a player.
I think, look, as a player, when I've hit the post in the first 5 minutes, you're thinking, could I have done something different? And then obviously, when I've hit the bar in the second half, I could have probably hit the target instead of trying to smash it in the top corner. It's just little things like that. You go back on and just think, if only this could have been an inch or two lower. Do you know what I mean? But look, you can't change what's happened. But it's always nice to look back on, and look, it always helps that I had a decent game as well. If I had a bit of a shock, I don't think I would have watched it.
Yeah, you don't want to watch those games back where you haven't played very well, do you? I think. So, Michael, the tickets are on sale now, so people can buy tickets for the evening with yourself and myself as hosted at the Rummer Tavern in Cardiff. I will drop the link in the comments and stuff now. But you will also be with Dan at Cardiff Classic Shirts the day after on the Saturday. What time is that, mate?
We're starting at 10 o'clock, 10 till 12, because Chopra's got to get away, got to get up to Newcastle. You might see a few of you on the way, given that we're Hull away that day, aren't we?
I was going to say.
So yeah, if obviously the Rummer Tavern will be a sort of an adult event. So come along to that, hear the anecdotes, and then keep them to yourself when you bring your kids down my place on a Saturday morning. If he tells that anecdote that he told me in Claridge's when I first met him to pick up some shirts, then the air will be blue. So we'll see.
That's all right. That's good.
I'm looking forward to the events. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, the Friday night will be for, like you said, more adults. And look, the one on Saturday at Cardiff Classic Shirts will be more for kids and younger people coming to meet and greet and that sort of thing. Have a few pictures and stuff like that, and buy some vintage classic shirts that you've got as well.
Yeah, with that in mind, like we have said, free entry to the signing with any purchase, but we're going to make that absolutely as affordable as possible. So we're going to have raffle tickets for some incredible prizes, starting at just a couple of quid. And if anyone actually can't afford it, then please don't feel guilty. Just reach out to me. send me a message. I'll put you on the guest list, and we'll get something sorted for you. I don't want anyone to be priced out of an event like this. So yeah, please just drop me a message if you feel like that's you. It's a tough time of year, and I don't want anyone to feel like they're struggling or they can't go and do something that they want to do. So yeah, just please bear that in mind.
Indeed. I've just dropped the link to the tickets for the evening with Michael Chopra.
How much are they, Si?
So it's £30 for a VIP ticket where you get to spend a couple of hours with Michael in the 1927 lounge, have a beer and some food and, just have a chat and some personal, really sort of intimate time with one of your favourite players. And then there's also tickets available for £10, which will be for the question and answer downstairs in the main bar after that. So you could do both for £30, or you can just do the question and answer. But either way, it's going to be a phenomenal way to see out the year for Ace Podcast Nation, for the City Legends live events. For all of us, it's going to be a good night. It's going to be a very nice way to see out the working year, I suppose, or whatever, just before the Christmas break, and most of all, get to spend an evening with Michael Chopra. I mean, what more do you want? Michael, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. I'm sure I'll speak to you over the next couple of days anyway. But appreciate you, mate. Thank you.
Enjoy the show. Good luck.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. See you in a bit.
See you later.
Michael Chopra. There you go. Should we change that camera angle now? He says.
God, they thought there was only two of us.
Camera one. There's more.
There's four. There's four of us.
We're joined by people. So yeah, we got some new faces. Just to introduce everyone. As you see, Dan with this hideous shirt by here. And,
Hideous.
It's hideous. Look at it. It's like 60 million different colours. Tell a story about it.
It's mainly three different colours. It's a Queen of the South goalkeeper shirt from, I think, season before last. And all of the dots represent all of the results in their history. So the red dots represent a loss, orange is a draw, and the green ones are a win. So it's basically a red shirt. But I love it.
I mean, I got to say, it's a cool concept. I like the idea of it. It's just the colours are very in your face. The middle,
heavily red.
Yeah,
they've obviously spoiled them.
If I was young enough to go to festivals, it would be my festival shirt.
Yeah,
but instead, I just wear it to the Rummer Tavern.
And then next to Dan, we've got 𝐷𝐬, comedian, Cardiff City fan, looking very cold in the corner with his scarf on there.
Yeah, well, I almost left it downstairs. So
you don't want to lose it.
It's precious.
Are you that cold, or are you just trying to get the scarf in?
Bit of
Stone Island on the scarf.
It is very cold. Just see there if we could. And then over to the right again, we got Nick. Who's nearly cut out, but he's there.
Do you reckon we can make a few more inches?
Shuffle
so
a
bit warmer then.
My wife says that. But yeah, they got Nick there, and we're going to talk Cardiff City, and we'll also be joined by Darren Purse towards the end of the show as well to talk about this Friday evening, where we will be having an evening with Darren Purse up here in the 1927 lounge, which is it's going to be a good time. That is, Darren is he's a very good talker, and he's like a very nice chap. And I think people will be surprised with his honesty, and he's very open. And even though he's still working with the club, every time I speak to him, he gives very honest opinions of the under-23s and stuff like that. So I think people will be pleasantly surprised by that as well. And obviously, I'm sure he's got a few stories to share as well, obviously as a former captain of the club. But where do we start with Cardiff City at the moment? I think let's start with the positive. And we'll talk about Preston from the weekend. Obviously, two last-minute goals is the best way to win a football match. It is thoroughly invigorating. It gives you a lift and a buzz for the rest of the day. Nick, what did you think of the performance overall in the Preston game on Saturday?
The Preston game, I thought they left a bit late. They were piling forward in those last 10 minutes. And I thought, well, why didn't they do this a bit earlier? Because the chances were there to really push them. I don't think Preston were that good. And they got stuffed the other day as well, didn't they, by Middlesbrough? And I thought, well, they didn't really go for it until it was a bit late. But luckily, they got away with it. But good chances, good pressing towards the end. They had plenty of opportunities. And I thought, overall, they played pretty well, but I think they could have done better. They could have really stuffed Preston before the last 10 minutes of injury time. I think they maybe a bit unlucky with a few of their chances, but they really did. I like the way they powered forward at the end of those corners, and
they didn't give up, did they?
It was good. It was good effort at the end.
There's nothing more frustrating than watching your team not try to go and win a game, is there? You know,
really
when
great.
you're looking at your team and thinking we're not throwing everything at this with a couple of minutes left, and you know when you do, sometimes you get results, don't you?
Well, they got the equaliser and they went straight up for the winner. Excellent. Maybe last year they would say, "Oh, we got a point. We're happy with that." Whereas this time they weren't happy with a point; they wanted to win it. But that's good. I like to see that.
One of my issues this season has been that we haven't played for 90 minutes. We've had sort of spells in games where we've played well, and we've had spells in games where we've completely lost, all the good work that we've done. So Preston was a relief to see that we could actually play for the 90 minutes and keep on going to the end. And as you say, scientifically proven to be the best way to win a football match. Last header of a game back. So yeah, lovely stuff. But we kind of continued our lack of creativity, as you say. We only really got going in the last, as soon as the linesman's board's gone up for how long's left against Preston, and we kind of continued this into the home game then. Sort of lack of creativity going forward. But
I thought do you know what? I've thought a couple of games this year. Yeah, I look back to the Rotherham game, and I thought Rotherham were awful. And I just felt like, yes, we won 2-0 in the end, and it was fairly comfortable. But I felt like if we'd really gone at them in the first half, we could have, put 3 or 4 on them. And there's been a couple of games where we've almost been quite, I don't want to say pedestrian, but we've been quite patient in our build-up, particularly at home. And I've thought, actually, if we'd maybe been a bit more attacking and got at teams, we probably could have, got a few more goals, had a few more positive results. And I definitely think Preston were there to be got at on Saturday. But ultimately, you get 3 points, whether it's 2-1 in the last minute or you win 4-0. So, I mean, it kind of is what it is. And it was I was really happy for Karlan Grant, because I think he's been really searching for a goal recently. And I think that's caused him to snatch at a few chances. And he missed that big chance against, who was that against? Stoke, was it? Or was it? I can't remember which game it was. It was one of the last games before the international break where he was through on the keeper and the keeper saved it. But I was pleased for him. And also 𝐷wBA probably, rightly or wrongly, gets kind of listed as everyone's number 3 striker within the club. And I thought, it was nice for him to get that last minute goal. It was a good result. I think the results went our way as well on Saturday. Apart from West Brom, I was on the Cardiff City phone in on Monday, and we kind of said that West Brom was going to be a really difficult game, and I was really impressed by the way West Brom pressed us, particularly in the second half. Every time we got the ball, our players were just surrounded by 4 or 5 West Brom players, and it's so difficult then, no matter how good a passing team you are. It's so difficult to have any sort of composure or to pick a pass or to be creative. And I think West Brom stifled us as much as we maybe didn't play to our, top level. I've seen us play better.
Well, we couldn't play our normal game. I think it's West Brom. They really bossed the midfield. They were knocking around quickly. They won every ball. I think we couldn't. We were trying to play through the midfield like we normally do, but we couldn't. It was too many dead ends. And I thought,
do you think, I'll put this to you, Di, first. Do you reckon sometimes we could vary up the way we play a little bit? So we do very much like play from the back all the time. And sometimes, we've got big strikers. Meite, 𝐷wBA, and Etete are all, big boys. Could sometimes we, just to create a bit of variety, play a bit more direct, play off the strikers, or play it directly to the wingers? Or...
Yeah, well, we're missing that directness, I think, which Ruben Colwill will give you when he comes on. I don't know what he's got to do, Ruben, but when he comes on, he gives you that direct where he gets the ball and he's willing to run at people. He's willing to run into the box with the ball, and defenders don't like that. And I don't know why I would have hoped after the Bristol City goal he would have pushed on. Obviously I don't know what's going on on the training ground, and so I can't criticize. I wouldn't dare dream of criticizing Errol anyway, because I think he's done such a fantastic job, and he's got to have his reasons why he's doing these things. But for me, I think Ruben Colwill, he gives you that different directness in our play, which we need. Like the other players, your bowlers, great dribbler, but he's not. He's a bit powder puff when he's dribbling into the box. You can think he's maybe gonna, fall under a challenge or something. Whereas Ruben's got the stature and the physical attributes to kind of not be so powder puff when he comes into the box. But we've got play, and Grant again. He's had a decent start to the season, but he's lacking an end product when he gets into the final third. He doesn't look comfortable on his left foot. He wants to play on his right. As I say, I think for me, Ruben looks the most comfortable when he gets into that final third. But
yeah, I mean, I've been saying since the start of the season, I think the best finisher at our club is Robinson, and I would like to see him play as the number 9 with Colwell behind or Ramsey behind when he's fit. But for whatever reason, the club seemed to fancy Robinson as a kind of number 10 or a left winger striker. But
he didn't get it kicked in the first half. Robinson,
I thought he did quite well in the middle part of the game, sort of just before half time, and then till he sort of came off. I thought he did pretty well then, and he does work.
But he doesn't go past player.
But
Colwell comes on, it will try
and beat
a player. Occasionally he'll lose the ball, but you can tolerate that because other times he will go past, he'll do a trick and he'll flick it into space, and he'll do things which other players can't do or we're not expecting him to do. And I like that. He's got that X factor, Colwell, that he can create something out of nothing. Like that goal he scored the other day.
Yeah,
nothing.
Bristol,
he smashed it with the roof of net. Jumping out of our seats. You think, well, that's what you want to see. But yeah, Robinson, he's better off just as a finisher rather than a creator of chances, I think.
I thought to some extent our creativity was stifled by West Brom.
Yeah.
And I think you could argue that what we did to Sunderland a couple of months ago,
yes,
West Brom did to us yesterday.
Perfect away performance, keep the other team from creating anything, and then nick a goal in the second half. It's what we did to Sunderland is what we nearly did to Leicester. It's what we nearly did to Leeds to a certain extent. We've had some really good away performances, and I think that was another one. I'd like to see us be a bit more aggressive at home. Like I think I said to you, Dan, that I'd like to see Colwell be given a chance to start in some home games where there's he's got a bit more freedom, maybe to be a bit more attacking and whatnot. The thing I just on your point, Di, about Grant, I agree with you. He doesn't want to go on his left foot, and I don't think by any means he's the finished article. But what he does do is he creates a lot of space for others to go into. So whether that's Collins going up on the outside or that's Robinson, drifting into the sort of the pockets of space. And I think the reason why, the manager favours Grant over some of the other wingers on the left is because Grant will protect Collins. So he will get back, and he'll do everything he can to sort of give Collins a bit of protection. And I think that was one of the criticisms which Tanner had earlier in the season. And I think Colwell had that criticism as well some point.
Do we know how long O'Dowda's going to be out for? Because I think we've missed him. His natural,
it's gone quiet on that front, isn't it?
Yeah, his natural. Do you mean just a natural left-sided player? We're missing that balance.
I haven't heard them talk about him for weeks.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest.
It's gone very quiet,
which is kind of worrying.
I've not seen him around the ground on a match day either. I've not seen him, with the squad.
Yeah, that usually indicates that it's a long-term injury, doesn't it? But without speculating.
But you see Rambo there every single week. He's down in the changing room and he's up watching the game.
But then I suppose I was going to say his club captain. He's not a club captain, is he? Because Walls is. That's what I was going to ask you guys. Was do you think last night, knowing the strengths of West Brom was in the middle with Diangana and 𝐷w𝐿 and Mowat, was last night a chance maybe where he could have rotated and put Wintle in there with C𝐢t𝐻 just to give us a bit more aggression and a bit more physicality? Like Rawls is good for when you want to pass, but I think Wintle gives you a bit more from the physical side tenacity. And the aggression. Yeah.
Well, if you look really in the second half, that was when they really dominated the midfield, and that was when Wintle came on.
Yeah, it's true.
For me, if you're looking to try and counteract West Brom's dominance in midfield, you bring on a Ibu Adams or something like that, and try and
Yeah, unfortunately, we
crunch him
were
a little
behind quite quickly, weren't we? I think it was like 50 minutes, was it, at the goal? Something around that. So I think you can't then bring on a sort of defensive midfield, 50. So
I thought we had the players to play a bit differently. I was looking at Josh Bowler, and I thought earlier on in the season, I thought he wasn't really offering a great deal, but there's a couple of chances in the first half yesterday where he went onto a ball, he drove straight into the box. I don't think he's the most skillful player, but he's strength and pace. He came in, he nearly scored last night, didn't he, with an effort in the first half. And I think that's him at his best. You give it to his feet and he'll just either lose it or pass it back. Give him something to run onto. He's got strength and aggression, and I was almost impressed by him.
I think for me, he was our best player last night. Yeah, for me, anything that was going to come through Bowler. I think I've said probably on this podcast before to you, Si, if he was Portuguese, we'd be losing our minds, but because he's English, we don't.
Yeah, but I think there's also an element of all of our wingers want to cut in. So Bowler wants to cut in, Grant wants to cut in. Yeah. So if Perry, NG, and Collins aren't going to give you the overlap and the width, you're never putting any crosses in, and then it negates having 𝐷w𝐰, 𝐷t𝐻, or 𝐷w𝐰 as your strikers, because they're all kind of guys who need the ball in the box.
They haven't had a lot of service, have they?
No. Whereas at least if
how
you've
many
got
crosses were there last night?
If you have Robinson in there, at least he can thrive off little balls inside and things like this. And I think it does make it difficult for those strikers if they haven't got any crosses coming in whatsoever. Another subject which has been heavily discussed over the last two games is the goalkeeper situation. Personally, I think Runnison has been brought in. And this is, not by any knowledge, this is just a pure guess, but I think the club has probably been told if they don't play him, then Arsenal are going to recall him in January. Because I can't see any reason why he's playing. Of all the positions on the football field, I don't think a goalkeeper is one that you generally should tinker with rotation. I think it just causes upheaval and confusion, and especially with how strong our back five has been, knowing that, at the very least, Collins was out, there was doubt over McGuinness. So I just felt like, and 𝐷w𝐰's been so good all season, it seems very strange.
I didn't think 𝐷w𝐰 deserved to be stripped of his place, and I understand that in the modern game, clubs do put pressure on other clubs, and they say, this is what needs to happen, especially in regards to loan players.
Look what I was saying about Colwell. If he went on loan, I said that he has to go to a club. We have to get a guarantee that he's going to play, otherwise.
But either that guarantee was there at the start of the season. They're not ringing up and saying, "Oh, by the way, you're not playing him a lot. Let's have a look at that." Either it's contractually there or it's not. And do you think Errol Bullitt is the sort of man who has his team picked for him? Because I don't.
But if the Arsenal chief executive or whatever phones Kenneth Cho or phones Mehmet and says, listen, just a heads up, if Runnison doesn't get any games between now and January, we're probably going to recall him. Cardiff haven't got any other options in the goalkeeping position, so they might have thought they could, right, let's give him a couple of games, so at least, it's off the back of the international break. I don't know. It just makes no sense to me otherwise why 𝐷w𝐰 has been dropped, because the 3 games I've watched Runnison play now, he has not filled me with confidence in any way, and he's supposed to be better with his distribution, and I actually think his distribution was really quite poor yesterday.
When asked about it, Errol Bullitt said that he made the decision because he wanted a keeper that can play with his feet, and Runnison is supposedly a better option at doing that. I haven't seen any evidence of that.
The only thing I saw from him on Saturday was he did step up to play between the centre-backs, but just because positionally you step up to play between the centre-backs doesn't mean it doesn't mean you're good at it.
And yesterday he got caught, and whether or not he was responsible for the goal yesterday, I think it was a fantastic strike.
He was responsible for the goal on Saturday.
Well, but whether or not he was,
Mark McGuinness was responsible for the goal on Saturday.
Mark McGuinness gave the ball away, but the keeper went 5 yards past his near post
last night anyway. Whether or not Runnison was responsible for the last night's goal, he almost could have given one away just moments before with his feet. And the thing is, if you're gonna make a decision to change your goalkeeper, then you need. Well, I don't know what the reason was, because I don't know. It's like he's made a rod for his own back.
Yeah,
He's created the problem for himself, because there wasn't a need to drop 𝐷w𝐰, and so fair enough. Like, to be honest, if 𝐷w𝐰 had played like Reminiscing has the last couple of games, I'd be looking at dropping him. So now you've created a problem for yourself.
Yeah, I think to be honest, I thought that he would bring 𝐷w𝐰 back in on yesterday, because I just felt like Reminiscing hadn't had a great game on Saturday. I did think he made a mistake for the goal. All right, it might not have been just his fault, because obviously McGuinness has given the ball away. But I also thought that he made the defenders nervous just by the way he was playing.
Well, that was the other point I was going to say, Simon, actually. Like, if you're going to want to play out from the back, all right, so you want the goalkeeper to do it, but you've got to have the defenders to do it as well. As soon as Reminiscing has given it to a defender, the defenders, like Gutas and McGuinness, they've gone to do the long ball diagonal. Yeah. And so the keeper can do that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard, isn't it?
Like, don't get me wrong. I like both centre backs, but like if you're going to bring in a keeper, like purely so you can play out from the back, you've got to have the centre backs to do it as well, and we haven't. And I wouldn't want to change them, because I think they've both had, like, they've probably been two of our best players this year, the centre backs.
Yeah, I said the other week.
So I don't know what problem he's trying to solve.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like, if it isn't broke, I had a conversation with someone recently who's also a football coach, and I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can create more problems or it can create problems which weren't there previously. And I think it's one of those things. I disagree with you slightly. I think Matt McGuinness is perfectly capable of playing out from the back, but it can't just be one player. And he's he's also not next to the other player who can do it, which is.
But his favourite out ball will be a diagonal across, to mean a long diagonal or something like that.
He's very good at it.
He's great at it. Yeah.
But I like Mark McGuinness. I do. I feel more comfortable with him in the team than without. But we can't hide away from the fact that he's made a few mistakes this season that have led directly to goals. I'd say probably three.
Probably trying to play out.
But then being a bit lackadaisical on the ball.
Yeah, but I think that also comes from the way the manager wants to play. Like, if you want to play from the back, particularly early in the change of, like, from long ball to playing from the back, you are going to come up with mistakes and losing the ball in areas where, if you lose the ball on the edge of your box or in your own half and there's no one behind you,
on Saturday,
there's a good chance it's going to be a goal regardless.
Saturday, he's out at left, left wing back or whatever position you call that, with absolutely no cover, and he tries to beat the man. Come on.
Yeah, it's a schoolboy error, isn't it? But like I said, I'm sure I said it on the show. I might have said it on the show with Rodri, but I think January some teams will be sniffing around Perry NG, and I think in the summer some teams will be sniffing around NG, McGuinness, and probably now 𝐷w𝐰 as well, and hopefully.
And
𝐶𝐢t𝐻,
yeah, and probably 𝐶i𝐢t𝐻 as well. But I said on the Cardiff City phone in on Monday that I wouldn't sell Perry NG for any price. Like, he's unsellable for me.
To be honest, I don't think he's. I think he could play at a higher level. I definitely think he could be a Premiership player easily. But I think he's kind of got the _𝐘v𝐿 about him. He's like he loves it. Do you mean he loves playing for this football club, and we love him. Do you mean? I can see him not leaving.
Yeah, he's an important part of the club.
I think
he's a valued
captain.
part of the club.
After roles,
I think he's a good point about the players want to play for Cardiff. You've seen that the team spirit seems good compared to last season, where people were just all over the place. But a lot of players, I get the impression they like playing in this team. They like the structure, they like the manager, and they're rooting for each other, and they're really kind of backing each other up.
We've had players who've wanted to leave the club and go on play in the Premier League over the last sort of 15 years. But then we've had other players that have turned down multiple offers. I mean, you look at Peter Whitten, then obviously decided to stay with us. Aaron Gunnarsson could have left long before it.
I think half that squad at one point could have left, couldn't they? When we got relegated from the Premier League, I think there was probably half the team or half the starting 11 were, could have gone if they wanted to, and a good few of them stayed. I think Steve McPhail could have left at certain points as well.
I don't want to retell one of Chops' anecdotes, but I'm sure he'll say it in a few weeks. But to put it into a nutshell, he'll elaborate on it. But when he left Cardiff, he was desperate to come back because he went away to the Premier League, realised how much he was loved here and how much he loved being here, and he couldn't wait to get back.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't realise those things until they're taken away or till you're gone.
If
you move away
if
from
you're comfortable being a footballer, that's a very rare thing to be.
100%.
Like
if you're happy with the manager, the club, the area.
A footballer's life,
like
you're
everything.
on your toes. You're looking behind your back constantly of who's going to take your shirt.
Short career.
If you're someone like P𝐵d𝐿, who is guaranteed, he's literally the first person you wrote down on that team sheet because of the pure everything he gives you in a performance. And so, he's made himself comfortable at this football club. And like, as I say, that's a rare thing to have as a footballer. And he's not daft to take that for granted, I don't think.
Yeah, I think, look, it's one thing to turn down a Premier League move, isn't it? I think it's another thing if you turn down like a top 4 move or whatever. But I whilst I rate P𝐵d𝐿 highly, I think he's more than capable of playing regular Premier League football. Whether he's in that elite sort of tier, I'm not sure, but
I think you got
he's
to
mid-20s,
credit Aaron
isn't he?
Ramsey for his attitude coming to Cardiff, top player. He could have gone to a Premier League club, but he wanted to come to Cardiff. He sees what the manager was trying to do. He likes playing for it. I think that set a good standard for the other players to say, well, yeah, sometimes what are your priorities? Do you want to sort of play as often as you can? Do you want to play the best of your ability, get your best opportunities? Maybe you get that in the Championship with Cardiff City rather than some other team where you're not playing every other game.
And if you're a footballer, you want to play with the best footballers. You have got someone like Aaron Ramsey at the club.
Yeah.
Like that's a draw in itself,
100%.
Yeah, you look at players like Ollie Tanner. It's a godsend having Ramsey to support him. I was watching Tanner last night, first half. He was trying to get involved, but he was really vocal all the time. He was supporting his players. He was really he was pushing really hard. He wasn't just content to be looking for opportunity. He was really trying hard to. He lost the ball a lot, but he kept trying to win it back.
It was probably his poorest game, really. But that, as you say, that I don't think that went against him really.
No,
his
attitude
effort
is great. I
mean,
the fans pick up on it. He really wants to make things happen, and he gets frustrated, and that's why I was pleased with Josh Bowler. He got a yellow card towards the end. Because I think you can accuse him of being a little bit tentative at times, not really going for it. He was wearing gloves. You think, we're wearing gloves for it. It's not that cold. But when he got that yellow card, he was pushing in the box one day. He got a block tackle in. I think he said it was
went after the ref, didn't he?
Linesman gave it as a goal kick because I don't think you could tell really, so they would. But then he was effing him blinded at the linesman. He was clenching his fists in his gloves. But that's the most fired up I've ever seen him this season. I thought, great! I was so pleased for him that he got a yellow card for really showing
getting a
bit of real aggression.
And that's the guy on loan.
Great, yeah,
isn't it? So
good. Yeah, I like that. Well, it's not good to get a yellow card, but he was pushing hard all game. He tried hard, I think. But I like that.
Sometimes we've had loan players who just don't look like they want to be here, do they?
As you were saying, after the game, your boy was it, saying it's night and day between last season and this season, and you can tell that from the loanees. Like last season, we had people who were sort of don't get me wrong, the old player we did have on loan actually did okay, but you could see that probably at the end of the season they weren't thinking that they'd be here.
But next season,
everyone seems to be putting in the shift who's here this season.
So just before Darren Purse joins us in a minute, I wanted to talk a little bit about the January transfer window. I did a YouTube video recently where I said 5 players who I think Cardiff should at least have a look at. I'm going to see if I can remember them now off the top of my head. Nico Williams on loan was one, but that would involve sending Jonathan Panzo back, I think. Jordan James from Birmingham City, I think like a £2 million bid might test Birmingham. But I think those two are speculative, to say the least, because I don't know how much money will be available. I can't remember who the other 3 was. That Turkish guy, Besiktas.
𝐶i𝐳d𝐬.
Yeah, that one.
If you say so.
That's a dessert, isn't it?
That's a club.
And there was 2 other, Kiefer Moore and
Kiefer Moore is the one.
Kiefer Moore.
Well, Kiefer's
should have
sounding
picked that
nailed
one. I
on,
can
isn't
pronounce
it?
that.
Kiefer's sounding nailed
So
on.
Yeah.
let me run something by you with
Songs
Kiefer Moore
about
then. So a week ago, if you had asked me if Kiefer Moore was coming to Cardiff in January, I would have said 100%, absolutely, definitely coming in January. And now I'm like, I don't know. And the only reason is because the manager talked about him pretty much for a whole press conference by name. And the day before 𝐷wBA signed, when he was doing his medical and all this, and everyone knew he was in Cardiff, they'd seen him and he'd been photographed, and he said, I can't talk about other clubs' players. Now, that to me is the usual answer which a manager will give when talking about someone else's players. So the fact he's talking about Kiefer Moore so openly, I think everyone's going to be like, January window opens, everyone's going to be sort of, when's Kiefer Moore signing? And then the next day we'll sign whoever from Turkey or the Blue.
Unless there's a pre-contract agreement there.
Well, I've heard on the grapevine that he's coming, but it won't be in January. It'll be in the summer.
Well, so what happened in the summer was the summer just went is he was coming on loan for the season, or even potentially as well. He wasn't able to come like on a permanent deal in the summer, but it was like a loan with a view to a move, and then the replacement which Bournemouth were getting, I believe he was coming from Millwall, fell through like in the last sort of hour before the window closed. And then obviously without a replacement, they weren't willing to let him go, and it kind of all fizzled out then. But I mean, Cardiff definitely had an interest in him in the summer. I did by someone who'd probably know that he had contacted Cardiff, much like Ramsey did, and said, I would like to come back.
With Page just basically said everyone needs to be playing football, doesn't they?
Yeah, he made it clear, didn't he? He dropped him against the Turkey game.
If Bullet has been so open about wanting him, I can't see why you would do that unless you've got every intention of trying to sign him. I think it only sort of made it more likely to happen.
I just thought it was weird that he was willing to not talk about 𝐷wBA when every man and his dog knew he was in Cardiff, but then suddenly was able to talk about Kiefer Moore. It was just funny, to me, you know what, managers.
But why would he?
Well, if everyone thinks you're going to sign Kiefer Moore,
and then
sign someone else, just like a misdirection thing, especially if, for instance, that Besiktas or that Sully Yukan from the Turkish league, they're both really wanted players. So if it comes out that we're close to signing them, maybe that could be a reason.
The people he's brought in, like your Gutas and your Siopis, they've been incredible, sort of under the radar signings. So if he's got another one like that, then
be more than happy. Okay, let's bring in the Cardiff City under 23s manager and legend, of course. He's Mr. Darren Purse, former Cardiff City skipper. Darren, how are you, mate? You good?
I'm not too bad. Say yourself.
Still in the work.
I'm all right, mate. How did you get on earlier this week in the game?
It wasn't a game with defences on top, mate. We played some excellent bits and drew 5-5, mate, which was a first for me, both as a player and as a manager. So it was interesting, mate.
5-5. Wow, that's a big draw, isn't it? That's not even just a boring 3-3. Going to do it in style. 5-5.
Yeah, there's a few things. It's hard to be sort of disappointed because some of the goals we scored were amazing. Some really good bits of play, but then some of the goals you concede, individual errors. It's hard to be disappointed with it because of the way we were playing, but. And on the other hand, you are disappointed because you've got away from home, scored 5 goals, but conceded 5 to not win the game.
I think I'm right in saying that Sir Alex's first 5-5 was his last ever game.
Yeah, Fergie drew his last game, didn't he? 5-5
with West Brom, and I think it's the first game he ever had was 5-5, and it was his last game.
Yeah, I mean, as the manager, the manager and a former centre back, mate, conceding 5 goals, isn't it? That's what you're focused on, isn't it?
I've had the conversation. I had a conversation with Gav Chesterfield, obviously academy manager today, and I said this team that I've got at this moment in time is so far away from what I was like as a player. It's unbelievable, but I'm actually quite happy about it because we're very expressive. We play on the front foot. We look to play through the lines quickly. We're a good side to watch because we'll score plenty of goals, but we've got a tendency of conceding them as well. So it's entertaining football anyway.
Good stuff. So, Darren, obviously this Friday, mate, you're going to be joining me at the Rummer Tavern for an evening of frivolity. Looking forward to it, mate.
Very much so. I'm quite jealous though. I'm looking at you lot on the screen there. You've all got a beer in your hand or a pint of Guinness in your hand. I'm looking and thinking, yeah, I'm missing a trick here, but yeah, I'll definitely have one on Friday night. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to sharing a beer with a few of the Cardiff City fans as well and share a few stories.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of people queuing up to buy you one, Darren.
I don't know. Listen, it's I never want anybody to buy me a drink. You know what I mean? You drink, but it's really looking forward to it. Like I said, just a few stories from back in the day. Any questions that anybody's got to ask about obviously the 21s and anything they want to know, I'll try to be as honest. Well, I will be as honest as I can. You know, it's there's stuff that can't get mentioned because it's behind closed doors, but there's stuff that will come out that everybody will hopefully have a good time listening to.
That's it, mate. I'm sure it'll be a good time, mate. It's everyone will be in like pre-Christmas mode as well, and a few drinks and stuff like that, and I'm sure they'll ask you some, like you say, some questions about the 23s and who you rate and stuff. But it's just like I ask you that every time I speak to you, in fairness. But who's doing well? Who's done well this week, there?
Listen, I think I'm not a great lover of sharing names because I think it's quite big that everybody that's in the 21s has got the same opportunity, you know. And,
yeah, of course.
But some will take that opportunity more than others, you know. But I think if you look at the boys that have made their debut already this year, you know, like Joel Cole, Walkie and Ashford, they're both really bright prospects. Still very young, you know. They're only first year pros this year. But there's some real bright prospects. But then I think that the other ones are the boys that have come back from injury, that are sort of that little bit older, like Cameron Antwi had a real bad knee injury. He's come back into the squad and played 90 minutes on Monday. Ryan Cavan is another one, local boy, sort of wears his heart on his sleeve, loves the club, so he's another one. And like Raheem Conte, James Croft, we've got a real good abundance of good talent. But for them now, it's about who wants to take the opportunity when it's given to them, and I think that's what it comes down to with the 21s at the moment.
Good stuff, and I guess it's all about preparing them for the first team, mate, isn't it? And or trying to get them ready to make that step up at some point.
Yeah, of course it is. They've got to learn the dark arts. I think when you talk about the dark arts of defending, that's not conceding 5 goals and making silly mistakes, you know. So. Like a few of the boys did on Monday, but you know what I mean. As long as they learn from it, I'll take losing a game, drawing a game. As long as they learn from it each game that they play, then we're in the right environment to do that, you know. And hopefully they don't make the same mistakes when they step up to the first team and make their debut. And when they're in that environment, when it really matters, they make the right decision at the right time. So that's what we're preparing the boys for. I speak all the time about. I think it's great if we can get boys into our first team. That's what it's all about. You know, 1, 2, 3 over the next year, 18 months that are playing regularly. I think that's brilliant. But for me as well, obviously knowing the players and working with them every day, is if they don't quite make it with our first team, they've got the opportunity to go and make it elsewhere as well and make a career in the game. It might not be a career at Cardiff City, but it might be a career at League One, League Two, National League, and it's about them enjoying their football and taking that opportunity when the opportunity comes for them.
Exactly that, mate. Exactly that. It's like making a career for them in football, isn't it? So I've just, as you can see at the bottom, there's links there to the evening with Darren Purse. I think there is a couple of tickets left, not many though. So
just £5, is it?
Yeah,
£5.
Wow, bargain. See, I'm giving people Christmas presents, early Christmas presents, isn't it? But no, I'm looking forward to it, Darren, immensely. I will put the link in the comments so people can just go directly from it. But look forward to seeing you on Friday, mate. I'm sure I'll speak to you probably tomorrow, actually. But yeah, you take care, my friends, and we'll speak to you
catch up tomorrow.
soon.
Listen, like I said, hopefully see a few of the listeners on the show tonight on Friday night. And listen, if you do come along Friday, don't be shy. You know, don't bite. Come say hello and we can share a drink together. And yeah, hopefully have a good night.
Good stuff. Thank you, Darren. I'll speak to you tomorrow, mate.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one. Top man,
Cheers,
mate.
mate.
See you later, gents.
All right.
All right, thanks, Darren.
Darren Purse, second Cardiff City legend of the evening. Number 1 or number 2?
That's not including us.
Back to the 4 legends at the start. So, who would you guys like? Just to finish off very quickly, who would you guys like to see Cardiff within, like realistically sign in January? If you had your ideal window, what would it be? Nick, we'll start with you at the end there.
Well, I think we need to get someone in midfield, more of a midfield general, someone who's a Roy Keane type player. Can we get Roy Keane? Is he still playing?
Yeah.
Someone who can really, I think we've got 𝐤w𝐰 potentially, but he seems to not get picked or get injured.
No.
But someone like in that kind of mold who can really boss the midfield and upset players. Because 𝐷zzt, I like him. He scampers around and wins the ball, but he gets knocked off the ball a bit too easily at times. He needs someone a bit more presence and a bit more aggression. So I don't know. It's hard to find. Well, I think we've got 𝐤w𝐰 is the one. If we get him fit, get him playing in the right, get him involved more often. But I'm not sure we need to buy a new one. Let's just make the best out of the players we got in the squad. I think
I really would like to see Jordan James and 𝐷zzt in the midfield for Cardiff City. That's like since I thought of it.
Jordan James.
But he's going to fill out now, isn't he? Yeah. Like he's only 18, 19. Like over the next year.
Wales captain, is he Jordan James?
I think so. I'd never object to having some of the Welsh squad playing in Cardiff as well. I don't think that's a terrible thing. But I just think they would complement each other nicely. 𝐾i𝐸 would you like to see him?
Oh, definitely. He gives it the option. I think we were a bit reluctant to knock it long yesterday. And Mayte, to be fair, he had a good go at trying to win balls, but he's no 𝐾i𝐸, is he? Moore can. No. He's much better challenging, and he can hold the ball up quite well.
Yeah, he's good on the deck as well.
Yesterday we couldn't make the ball stick, but Moore can do that. And he scores goals from all angles. Every corner, every free kick, he's a threat. He'll get his header on goal.
He's proven in the Championship as well.
Yeah.
And Reece in the comments there says Charlie Savage, someone who can pass the ball and work hard, which is quite an interesting. I quite like that as a choice as well.
Bit annoying because I was going to say him.
There you go. Di, who would you like to see in January?
Yeah, well, people are saying midfield, and I can understand why people are saying the midfield, because
I think left back's more pressing than midfield. Personally.
Well, yeah, we've got a left-sided problem definitely with Dowd being injured. But yeah, I can see maybe an extra body in midfield. Again, I wouldn't mind seeing a bit more 𝐤w𝐰 if he's available, just to sort of give us a bit more meat. But yeah, we're dying out for someone who can put the ball in the back of the net. If we had a 20-goal a season striker, then that's the difference between us being in and around the playoffs and being in the promotion places.
Indeed. Reece also says new keeper to be number 2 to 𝐷w𝐰. Send Runnison back. I take it he means. What about Danny Ward? Isn't he like third choice at Leicester?
I have enough butterflies watching him play for Wales, let alone having him.
I think he's good.
I
think he's good. And
I'd absolutely take Danny Ward.
Danny Ward is back up to our 𝐷w𝐰 would be perfectly fine. Right. Dan, finish us off, mate. Who would you like to see in January? Because obviously Jamal Collins goes to the African Cup of Nations most likely as well.
Yeah, no, I think Jordan James is a great show. Would love to see Nico Williams, but I don't see it happening.
I don't know if he pays wages, mate.
Charlie Savage, I think, is actually a good shout. I think he could be a good fit for Cardiff City Football Club. But I am willing to pin my colours to the mast and say 100% we do sign 𝐾i𝐸. I just think we do. I don't think there's any two ways about it.
Makes sense for everyone concerned, doesn't it? Like if you think Bournemouth want him out, he wants to play for us, and we need a striker who we can trust. So it does tick all the boxes. I can't see Gullit
having said all that, not going to try and sign him in January. Do you mean
Yeah.
he is going to have a go?
Yeah, I like I say, it's more like a nagging doubt because of the change in tact. But it might, like I say, it might be because he's that convinced that it's going to happen, that he's confident to say it. But it was just a weird one to me, because normally the answer is always, "Oh, I can't talk about other people's players, blah blah blah." It's like, okay.
Wasn't Bullett's statement about 𝐾e𝐿e𝐴 though, when he was being asked as a
I mean, he was asked the
pundit
question
on the
directly
Wales
as well.
Turkey game,
Yeah, I
not
think
as
he kind
a
of framed
Cardiff
it.
City press conference.
And then the journalist or the person,
But he knows
kind of
how it's
twisted it
going to
around.
go.
Yeah,
twisted,
and
isn't it?
the journalist, like the presenter, like pushed him on it, didn't he? And he sort of said, "What would you know? So you're going to sign him?" Sort of thing. And then it is what it is, isn't it? I'd be very interested. I think he's the exact signing Cardiff need. If I could pick like the ideal window, it would probably be 𝐾ee𝐿e𝐴, Jordan James, and a young left back, because I don't think, being realistic, look, if you offered me
Let's say Nico Williams.
if you offered me 𝐾ee𝐿e𝐴, Jordan James, and Nico Williams on loan in January, I would snap your hand off and then chuck in Danny Ward as third choice keeper, a second choice keeper as well. Be happy. Be sleeping happily through January. And I think we'd go on and finish the season strongly, because I think all four of those players would massively strengthen the squad, and probably the starting 11. Most of like,
Are we writing off 𝐏r𝐞s𝐿e𝐴?
he's not ready to start games in the league, is he?
No.
I don't think
He might have been sent out on loan because of what happened in the summer.
Yeah, very possibly.
And actually, the manager did have bigger plans for him this season, but after what happened, he thought he could do with a few months away, get his head clear. What happened was obviously.
Where did he go?
I was going to say he's in another league. So.
Yeah, I think he picked up 8 or 9.
Yeah, he's doing
clean
quite well,
sheets
isn't he?
while he was down there, but he's come back this week now.
Well, I'd prefer him over Danny Ward. I'm not being funny.
Danny Ward's a good keeper. I like Danny Ward.
I do like him, but he gives me palpitations.
Mm-hmm. Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. I really appreciate you all joining me, all coming down, having a chat. All things Cardiff City. Good to get some new faces on the show as well. We'd like to keep rotating these people, but we won't let Dan go. He's just got to keep covering.
It's better than our old faces, isn't it?
That's it, man. We're just stuck, we're not allowed to leave. But no, it's good. I like getting some different people on, hear different opinions, and it's always a good time. So I appreciate you all coming down. Appreciate all the comments and stuff like that. It's a bit more difficult to get to the comments, particularly when they won't come up on the screen. But it's difficult to get to the comments when there's 4 of us or 4 or more of us talking. But I've tried to get to a couple. But there we go. Guys, it's been a pleasure. If you haven't got your tickets for Darren Purse on Friday, make sure you get them. £5 will be here. Absolute bargain. And then the Michael Chopra tickets, a little bit more expensive, but it's a slightly different layout. It's a bigger event, and there's more costs to cover, as it were. But indeed, it's been a pleasure. Take care. Have a nice night. And I'll be back tomorrow with Rodri Giggs on football, so please join me. Good night.